after the bell went silent. It was only 2:00. "Collabo!" a woman in the crowd howled. "Collabo horizontal!" another screamed. And the women in the mob took up the cries and passed them around as they would, under other circumstances, have handed a baby from one to the other. Both instincts were primitive and protective, though in this case of self. Only the hardest or most forgetful among them, those who had never given a civil nod to a billeted soldier, or uttered a merci for a door held, could fail to see themselves in the place of that woman huddled in shame as her hair fell to the ground in greasy clumps. Her days of black market meat and eggs and shampoo were long gone. Charlotte thought of the patches of hair missing from her own scalp as a result of the malnutrition. She'd been able to live with that, but when the tufts of Vivi's fine baby hair had begun to come away in her hands, she'd stopped brushing it, as if that could do any good. The women in the pack howled their rage, but the men, especially the silent men, were more dangerous, and not only because they brandished the rifles and wielded the shears and razors. The men reeked of sexual malice. Some of them clutched their crotches as they heckled and punched and kicked the woman. Others sweated and smirked and wiped the spittle from their mouths with the backs of their hands, then ran their tongues over their lips, as if they could taste the thrill. Their country had been defeated. They had been humiliated. But this wreaking of vengeance, this rendering of justice, this half-naked woman, stained with blood and tears and feces, made them men again. Two boys, they couldn't have been older than 16 or 17, began pushing the woman, her bald head glistening in the afternoon sunlight that slanted past the church steeple, toward a truck parked in a corner of the square. The three women, one almost naked, two half-dressed, who were sprawled in the flatbed, didn't look up when the boys shoved the newcomer among them. Now the crowd was tightening the circle around another woman. This one was holding a baby. Her soiled cotton dress hung beltless, one sleeve torn away, but she was still wearing it. Perhaps the presence of the baby shamed the men, or perhaps it only tamped down the sexual voltage. She wasn't cradling the baby against her, the way a woman usually holds an infant, but carrying the child under one arm like a package. Its legs hung limp. Its head, unsupported, drooped to one side on its fragile neck. Its eyes were closed, and its small face was screwed tight against the world. Charlotte picked up Vivi, who'd been clinging to her skirt, and hid her daughter's face in her neck. This was nothing a child should see. This was nothing anyone should witness. One of the men who seemed to be in charge, if anyone could be said to be in charge, grabbed the woman by the hair and yanked her head back. The sound she let out was more a bleat than a cry. Charlotte waited for the baby to begin to wail. It merely screwed its face tighter. The hair began to fall to the ground. It was longer than the short bob of the woman they'd stripped to her underwear, and took more time. Perhaps that was what made the man in the crowd do it. He was getting bored. While the tondeur was still shearing the woman, the man darted forward and inked a swastika on her forehead. The crowd roared its glee. Still whimpering, still clutching the silent baby, the woman was shoved toward the truck, and another was hauled into the center of the square. Holding Vivi tighter, Charlotte began pushing her way through the mob. Drunk now on justice and the wine an enterprising woman and her young son had begun selling, but not yet satiated, the crowd pushed back against her, urging her to stay, sneering at her for her tender-heartedness, taunting her for her lack of patriotism. She put her hand on the back of Vivi's head to shield her and kept going. At the edge of the crowd, Bertha Bernheim, the woman from the camp whose stitches had been so expert she'd had to bite off her star, stopped her. "You can't leave," she said, and pointed to a group of women and one man in a corner of the square, waiting their turn with the tondeur. "It's not over." Charlotte shook her head. "As long as this goes on, it never will be," she said, and kept going. Bertha Bernheim stood looking after her. "Holier than thou, that one," she observed to no one in particular.